Rail strikes recently took place on the 1st of October, with more planned for the 5th and the 8th of the month. The 1st of October marked a rare occasion where both the ASLEF and the RMT both striked on the same day. This reduced the service from the standard 20% of services running to 11%, making an even bigger impact to commuters. Many rail companies completely suspended all services, whilst others ran at a reduced rate. Shift is here to speak to commuters about how it's affected their daily travels. Do you regularly rely on rail travel?
Yes, quite a lot.
Every day.
Yeah.
And what do you rely on it for?
Like work or going out with friends or, duties, all that.
Just everything.
Yeah, everything basically.
3.5 million people travel by train every day in the UK, and with around 70% of rail journeys ending or beginning in London, many commuters and locals are affected by rail strikes. How do rail strikes affect you and your work and your daily activities?
It's the way I go to work. So usually when there's a strike, it affects the number of turn up as well into the office. So when there's a strike, there wouldn't be as many people as there would usually be.
Okay.
So yeah.
How effective do you think rail strikes are, if you know anything about them? Do you think that they are effective at getting the workers' points across?
Not that I know of. I don't think it's that effective. I mean, I haven't really seen any news that the strikes have made any changes to their pay or anything like that.
Well, I think I've heard the TfL trying to cut down the number of hours for each worker after the previous rail strike. Not this one, but the previous one. But I'm not sure whether or not that is what the workers are satisfied with, since there's more rail strikes going on. But seems to have some effect.
I'm here with Morgan Paulette, London transport worker, to find out more about the recent rail strikes. So firstly, what was the purpose of the recent rail strike?
The purpose of the recent rail strike was to both fight for a pay increase that is at least reduces the damage that inflation and things like energy bills soaring is going to do to railway workers, but it's also to push against the package of reforms that the government is trying to push through, which I won't go through all of them because it's far too long, but part of them involve cutting safety inspections on the railway by 50%, cutting railway maintenance staff by a third, closing all the ticket offices in Britain, as well as cutting thousands of railway staff from stations and the like, and condensing the roles so that instead of having people who are specialised in dispatching, who are specialised in passenger assistance or things like that, you have everyone doing all the jobs, essentially.
Rail strikes don't tend to impact underground services. However, overground trains were cancelled during recent strikes on the 1st and 5th of October, leading many people to find alternative routes into and outside of the city centre. What do rail union members aim to achieve through strike action?
Well, at the minute, we're staring down the barrel of thousands of redundancies, potentially far and rehire practices if the government and the train operating companies and Network Rail get their way, as well as stagnant, with inflation, a real terms pay cut. So we hope to achieve a decent pay rise, as well as no compulsory redundancies and not having reforms pushed through that we believe would make the railway a less safe mode for people to travel in Britain.
Do you regularly rely on rail travel?
Yes, I do.
What do you rely on it for?
Mostly for school, but also to get from places to places.
So just everything?
Yeah, exactly.
So how do rail strikes affect you and what you do?
I just moved here, so I was not very affected by it, because recently I just like to walk to get to know the city. But I guess normally I would be affected by it. But then it would also push me to take my bike. And I also get them why they would strike.
So you support rail unions striking, do you?
Yeah, I do.
And how effective do you think rail strikes are for getting workers their rights?
I think they have like a lot of power because I feel like so many people rely on them. So maybe like now it's been 2 days. I guess if they would go further for a long time, they could probably have some power.
For many people, rail strikes are quite inconvenient as they can prevent or delay people from getting to work or other commitments. What would your response to that be?
I'm reminded of what Eddie Dempsey said in response to this question, the Assistant General Secretary of the RMT, which is that he said people will find it difficult on a strike day, but people will find it difficult when it's not a strike day, and that people are struggling regardless. And whilst we're very aware that it's an enormous pain in the arse for people who rely on the railway to get to work or to get around the country, this wouldn't be necessary if the government was not forcing us to do this. This is not something... Railway workers don't enjoy losing pay. We don't enjoy standing out on a picket in the rain and all weather for 7 hours or however long it is, probably usually a bit longer. We don't want to be going on strike. We want to be coming to a negotiated settlement. But the government is basically tying Network Rail and the train operating companies' hands behind their backs so they can't negotiate freely with us at the current minute.
Now that you're armed with the facts, let us know what you think of the rail strikes over on our socials.